Last year's Austrian Grand Prix was all action-packed as Red Bull and Ferrari fought hard around the Red Bull ring. But last year, it was the Italian car that triumphed over the Austrian car. This year, with the dominance the RB19 has showcased, the safe bet is to side with a Red Bull and Max Verstappen victory. But with teams bringing upgrades, and with other teams looking to optimize previous upgrades, a shakeup within the competitive order could be possible. Aston Martin is looking to capitalize more by optimizing its first major upgrade package at Austria. Ferrari are set to bring a massive package to Red Bull's turf, while we also expect McLaren to be making massive changes to its MCL60. So, let's check it out. First things first, let's take a look at the Red Bull Ring racetrack and what we can expect from the race weekend as a whole. The Austrian racetrack can be regarded as an all-rounder. The first sector requires better traction on slow corners, accompanied with great straight-line speed. Second sector also requires greater straight-line speed, but also good medium-speed cornering. Whereas the last sector is all about high-speed corner performance. Last year, home favorites Red Bull were not up to the task, as Ferrari were able to provide a better race car, with Charles Leclerc taking the win. This was mostly down to the weekend being a sprint weekend, where teams do not get enough time to set up their cars if balance is improper. But this season, the RB19 has been much easier for the team to set up. Therefore, Max Verstappen will have no problems whatsoever unless reliability strikes to take a comfortable race victory at Austria. That would be the home crowd's expectation as well, but that certainly is not going to be easy. With many of its rivals picking up the pace at a massive rate, Red Bull could have a challenge on their hands considering the sprint format in place. Let's start with Aston Martin. The Silverstone outfit brought its first major upgrade package of the season to Canada, where the team does believe that they were not able to extract the maximum due to disruptions in practice. Team boss Mike Crack certainly believes that the team are yet to unlock the maximum potential of the newest upgrade package, as he went on to add. When you put new parts on the car, you always have to be thrown into a bit of a relearning loop. How is the car behaving in different conditions, different ride heights? We have a lot to learn and we have to develop the car further over the next races. Friday was a very difficult day. It was the most confusing day we had so far this season because of the conditions and the interruptions, with different programs at different times. We were really not sure where we were. Maybe Fernando had a better feeling than we had. With all the upgrades Aston Martin brought, the team aimed at one purpose, and that was improving the downforce generation. Because the teams wants to achieve two things. One is to have better downforce for slow corner performance, and the second is to be able to run less loaded wings to achieve less aerodynamic drag. The latter is very crucial around the Red Bull ring, as the circuit comprises of 3 DRS zones. Therefore, when the car hits the track, the team will look to optimize its package to the maximum, where they are able to nail the perfect balance between downforce and drag. One more area where the team will focus is on the medium and high-speed corner performance, something the MR23 lacked heavily around Barcelona, which could be key around Austria. The latest evolutions seem to work. Now circuits with high-speed corners are coming and I think our car will improve. We are looking forward to Austria because that is where we will see the true strength of Red Bull. Our motto for Spielberg, attack. Next up is Ferrari. The Italian team were the winners of last year's Austrian Grand Prix, but with the form they are on this season, chances of fighting for victory are on the downside. But, to mount a challenge, the Maranello squad are set to introduce a raft of upgrades at this weekend's Austrian Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz took turns driving the SF23 at Ferrari's Forano test track on Tuesday as the Italian team trialed a new front wing assembly and revised floor. These two elements are claimed to be influenced by Red Bull's powerful RB19. This weekend at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Ferrari is also anticipated to introduce a brand new rear wing. In the afternoon, Leclerc unveiled the redesigned underbody, which included altered floor barriers after Sainz's morning testing of the new front wing. The new floor features changes to the entrance area of the Venturi tunnels, a design reportedly inspired from Red Bull. The upgrades have been mainly aimed at improving the drivability of the SF23. After both Sainz and Leclerc noted a lack of consistency was the main factor hindering their performance in races, the team pulled off an aggressive tire strategy to finish 4th and 5th in Canada at one of the toughest tracks on degradation, with Red Bull also fearing their race pace had they started higher up than 10th and 11th on the grid. This could be track specific. But if indeed Ferrari have somehow gotten over its tire struggles, the SF23 would be a big challenger around the Red Bull ring. Team principal Fred Vasseur after Canada said, "Ferrari is not getting carried away after positive signs, but believes that it is a step in the right direction. We don't have to draw a conclusion about the situation or the season after one race. Montreal is a bit different. It's a lot about curbing. The track is green, but it's true that we are going in the right direction, and I hope that it will be also the case in 2 weeks now in Austria." Lewis Hamilton and Helmut Marko have shared thoughts about Ferrari and Charles Leclerc being a huge threat around Spielberg. So we better have our eyes on 2 scarlet red cars this weekend. Let's now focus on McLaren, as this is the team which is bringing a massive upgrade package to this weekend's Grand Prix. McLaren has had a dismal start to the season, collecting just 17 points after admitting over the winter that it had fallen short of development goals for its MCL60 chassis. McLaren is prepared to introduce a number of modifications during the 3 races before the summer break, though, following the introduction of enhancements in Azerbaijan at the end of May. Team boss Andrea Stella has high hopes for the Austrian Grand Prix, as he expects the track to suit the car much better. He also hopes that the upgrades brought will play in the team's favor. Austria is a track in which we have done well in the past. I think 6-7 corners, 4 of them are high speed, which we should be competitive on. Then Austria is, like I said already for some time, our first step bringing upgrades. I think this can be more important than how suitable the track is, the characteristics of our car. Ultimately for us it is a milestone in terms of possibly turning around the season, not only thanks to what we bring to Austria, but also what will follow in the next races. Stellar responds that the new pieces will be the most consistent when asked to describe the scope of the package that will be unveiled at the Red Bull Ring. The Italian predicts that, before the summer break, 50% of the updated package will be visible in Austria, with the remaining 50% split equally between the next 2 races at Silverstone and the Hungary. I'm banking on this package, but across the pretty much 3 races in which we will introduce it, these should be a few tenths of a second that should be noticeable from a lap time point of view. A new floor, new side pods, and a new sole cover are scheduled to be introduced by McLaren in Austria, the first round of changes for the British team. The team will then improve the mechanical component of the car in Hungary after introducing new wings at Silverstone. A 3-step strategy has been implemented out of necessity. As soon as pieces are prepared, they are introduced to the McLaren chassis. Moving on to Mercedes. The Silver Arrows have no upgrades planned for Austria, as they are aiming at Silverstone for the next batch of upgrades. But the team are optimistic about its chances around the Red Bull Ring. Considering a subpar W13 was fighting for pole last season, one might just wonder how would the W14 fare around Red Bull's home track this season. Toto Wolff, the team principal of Mercedes, is expecting good results from the upcoming Austrian Grand Prix. He believes that the more traditional circuit will be suitable for the W14, making their performance much better than it was at the Canadian Grand Prix. It's a short lap in Spielberg and looks straightforward on paper, several long straights broken up by a range of slow, medium speed and fast corners. But it's a challenging one to put together and get right. We will aim to build on the momentum we have generated over the past 2 races and continue our positive trajectory with the car. It's a venue where the W14 should perform better than in Canada, but we won't take anything for granted. With Wolff being an Austrian himself, a good result is what he would be expecting from his team and both drivers. Now you know what upgrades teams are bringing to the Red Bull Ring. What are your expectations for the race weekend? Who do you think will be making the biggest gains with their potential upgrade packages? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section down below. We'd love to discuss it with you. And on your way down, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notified of our future uploads to keep yourselves up to date about the 2023 Formula 1 season.